And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Sainz, Hughes and Russell, Hamilton, Piastri, Stroll and Yuki Tsunoda, Albon, Doohan, Liam Lawson and Ocon, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly. Hadjar and Ollie Behrman rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me here today in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. Look, we know it's not where you start, it's where you finish. But let's talk about the start now. What's there to help the drivers get away well?
Big pressure at the start of the race, Crofty, for all of them up and down the grid, no matter where you are. But the drivers these days, they practice, practice and practice. They have rigs with them at the circuit where they can sit down with the actual steering wheel from the real car, and they've got lights that they react to. The clutch paddle is tailored around the driver's hands, around their fingers, so they can have optimum position before they start. So there's so much thought and effort that goes into getting these cars off the line.
Mic on.
Fala amigos, tudo bem? Como estão? Pessoal, voltamos então aí com Fórmula 1, hoje o GP de Baku. Vou trazer para vocês aí como foi o Qualify, né? A gente teve aí uma Ferrari na frente, fez na casa de 1.40, que foi bem difícil de chegar nela. No Qualify a gente fez um P6, um incrível 1.41 ali, né? Então o carro está bem na mão, por incrível que pareça. Em Baku, outra corrida de muita reta, como eu falei, eu acreditava que o carro ia estar muito bem. A gente ia largar de P6, mas está largando de P5, provavelmente alguém tomou uma punição. Então é isso, não tem muito o que falar, o carro está bem bom, vamos ver o que a gente consegue aí na corrida. Fica aí com a corrida então, pessoal, valeu!
Mic off.
Right then, the formation lap gets underway here on the streets of Baku. I suspect the drivers today will be very mindful of that narrow uphill section at the Old Town Wall. It requires pinpoint accuracy and perhaps more crucially, courage. We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations. is ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead, 2.6 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Okay, they've got 4 laps on their tyres. We think they've got 1 more stop. Time last lap, 1:45.3. Green flag. Okay, some information on Gasly. They're retiring from the race. Tyre condition still looking good. Okay, the car ahead is 3 seconds up on you. Keep pushing. Our teammate by 16.5 seconds. We think they've got 1 more stop. Okay, you sat in P2, Leclerc ahead, and gap to the car in front, 3.4 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Norris is behind you. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Your pit window is going to open in 3 laps time. Pit window opens in 3 laps. Okay, 12 laps to go. Okay, mate, we've got some clear track around us now, so let's use it and make this next lap a quick one. Let's go. nicely for the rest of this race. We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums. Okay, so gap to the car ahead, 3.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. We think they've got one more stop. Alright, you're falling back by 1/10 a lap. Old hard tyres. Their tyres are 8 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap, 1 minute 46.5. Is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap. Well done. Box.
on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. Gabrielle's in the pits. Gabrielle is in the pits now. Leclerc ahead. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 5.0 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are just 1 lap old. Time last lap, 1:58.4. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by. 5.2 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. And the time last lap, 1:58.4. Okay, mate, your lap times are all over the place right now. We've got to have consistency. Come on, we can do better than this. fresh mediums. Their tyres are 3 laps old. Time last lap, 1:45.3. Battery charge is high, let's use that overtake button a bit more. job. Gap to your teammate behind, 31.8 seconds. Verstappen behind you now. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 6 laps old. And the time last lap, 1 minute 46.1. 7 seconds is all that separates you and the car ahead. Let's go. Okay, mate, final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home. I'll take that. Well done. We're really happy with the podium down here, so well done. Yes!
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory. He wins.
And that's 2 wins in a row now. It's the start of potentially something special, but they can't get ahead of themselves just yet. It's a long way to go.
We had drama from start to finish, but in the end, there was only ever one that could take that top spot. And that is a fabulous win and the top step of the podium for Charles Leclerc. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Mic on.
Rapaz, que corrida, hein, pessoal? Conseguimos um P2, largamos muito bem, a gente conseguiu atacar nas 2 primeiras curvas da primeira volta ali, a gente acabou disputando um pouquinho com o Lando Norris, mas foi só isso, a gente tinha um ritmo muito mais forte. Só que não tão forte quanto da Ferrari. A Ferrari tinha uma reta absurda ali, não tinha muito o que fazer. Então a gente só depois ficou fazendo o manejo da corrida, né? Andando um pouco mais rápido, um pouco mais lento. Sentia que às vezes o carro ia sair de traseiro, eu tirava o pé, porque a gente estava bem longe ali. Botamos basicamente aí 6 segundos, né? No Lando Norris, então tava tudo tranquilo. Não sei o que houve com o Max Verstappen, que ele tava lá em cima, ele tava atrás da gente e terminou em quinto. Acredito eu que eles ficaram brigando ali, o Lando Norris, o Russell, o Verstappen, né? E a gente conseguiu aí fazer uma belíssima corrida e um novo pódio aí para nós, né? Hoje com uma corrida bem clean, Como eu falei, o Leclerc ele não tinha muito o que fazer, ele andou muito mais rápido, cara, fez um 43.8 enquanto a gente tava fazendo um 44.1. Então eu vou deixar vocês aí com os melhores momentos, daqui a pouco eu volto.
Mic off. Mic on.
Então é isso, pessoal, aí vocês viram os melhores momentos, a gente não teve muita briga ali, a não ser na saída dos boxes, até teve um pouquinho ali com o Alexander Albon, não lembro se era o Albon ou era o Sainz, acho que era o Sainz, e com o Norris, mas a transmissão ali não mostrou. Mas é isso, obrigado a todos que acompanharam até aqui, mais uma corrida ótima aí com a Sauber, vamos ver como é que vai ser no próximo GP. Valeu, deixem o like aí, se inscrevem se gostaram. Fui!
Mic off.